So on tonight's episode of Life in Moto, we're going to discuss a few things. Some really big things have recently happened and kind of came into light for the Life in Moto podcast. One of which is I sat down today with All Things MX Idaho and the creator of it, and we have come up with some really awesome things. We came to an agreement that both of us see a need for our community, as in motocross, outdoors, life, motorsports, everything from outside of motocross, such as like kayaking, downhill mountain biking, BMX, just getting our community of Idaho more involved. And so one of the big things we're looking at doing is possibly doing a collaboration or / a merger of All Things MX and Life in Moto, and kind of building on those and helping create a better niched outlet for everybody that's involved. It was an amazing interview. We sat down and I think we talked for 2 hours plus. Came up with some great ideas, did some meeting of the minds, and we really like where we could take this. One of the things that we're talking about, at least for me on the Life in Moto podcast, that I want to get out there, and I'm going to only announce it on the podcast and on YouTube, is for this upcoming season, Life in Moto is looking to sponsor one rider of every genre, such as MX, desert, and enduro, as well as arena cross. Now, when I say sponsor, this isn't a big numbers, big payout kind of a deal. But what I'm looking to do is offer to pay entry fees or pay for some of the entitlement fees that come along with racing. And what I need from you guys is I want submittals. I want some references as to why we should pick you to help you make your moto career go further. That's the best part about Life in Moto. And then merging with All Things MX, we are looking at doing some really awesome ideas to get more involvement from you guys, the listeners, as well as those that follow us on the social media platforms. We both have great Instagram followings, and we're looking to combine those and make it even better, to make it a unit for everybody, not just one niche of just moto riders. We want to make this the best podcast for the state of Idaho that we can. We're not going to limit ourselves in just saying Life in Moto, and this is kind of why I'm going this route. I'm looking to merge this into having a co-host, having a co-production of a podcast. And this may be one of our last episodes done here in the good old room of my hot tub. But with that, we will always know what's happening and kind of build off of that here in the near future. So, if you're an MX guy, a desert guy, or an enduro guy, I'm looking for why I should help you. What makes you that special? What helps me make you better? And so with that, I'm hoping I can get some submissions from you guys on Instagram and as well as TikTok, or even just reaching out through the podcast. Like, either way, I am looking forward to hearing from you guys. And so one thing I am willing to do is sponsor a full race. I am willing to pay entry fees, and I'm willing to look at maybe doing an end of year sponsorship for next year of 2025. Also, with that, I wanted to just kind of add in a little fun thing that's going on. All Things MX and Life in Moto podcast have teamed up to do the Supercross Fantasy League. We are doing that as well. And I will leave that link and I will leave that information at the end of the podcast, as well as on my Instagram page for those of you that are looking to join. I would rather you direct message me to get that information, so that way we don't have 500 people try to join, and we can just get this to where it's more what we're looking for. So, with that, this podcast is going to be a little bit shorter today. Not too crazy, but still a little bit shorter. We went over an amazing plethora of great ideas, great avenues that we could really take this podcast, and I'm looking forward to where this goes. One of the biggest things that we're looking at doing is I'm actually hoping to reach out and get more followers. And with that, we would like to maybe join up and find a group of like-minded individuals for our first episode of moving forward with the conjoined podcast. One of the big things I'm looking for is a mix. I'm hoping for some MX riders, some desert riders, and some enduro riders. If this sounds like something, and age groups, I don't care if you're 60 years old, you've been doing this for however long, or 80, or whatever. I am looking for about 4 individuals. One from each one, and I'd love to hear from you. Give me your insight. Give me a little idea as to what it is for you that would make you an interesting segment of the podcast. And that is huge. I think that we can make this better for everybody. That's the biggest thing we both came into realization, is that we've lost hindsight, lost track, lost everything of what the moto world around here used to be. He was showing me stuff from archive stuff and how they used to, do rider spotlights and so forth. And it was amazing to read these historical events and items. And I want that for our generation, for the younger generation of Keeley. And the only way we're going to do that is by getting you guys involved. So one of the other things we were talking about was, just how the fact that life in moto, I don't always just talk about motocross. I talk about life. I talk about the nitty gritty. I let you guys in on my world, and I hopefully help you guys in finding an avenue or a channel for yourself and making things better for everybody. That's huge. That's not just a simple-minded idea. That's a great idea. And so what I'm hoping to do is on tonight's episode, I'm going to not advertise the fact that I'm looking for riders to sponsor. I'm not looking for any of that information. Is not going to be posted on Instagram. So if you want to and you need to, you have to listen to the podcast or even YouTube. I am looking for those 4 riders, and I'm also looking for 3 sponsorship eligible people. Age, sex, doesn't matter. I want to read why you deserve to have a sponsorship. I know it's not the greatest sponsorship. I know it's not a lot of money, but hey, if I could help somebody out with one race in their sport, then that's what I want to do. And with that, All Things MX and myself, we're looking at doing some really, really fun ventures for this upcoming 2024 season. I know that we have a few races coming up in February for Sidra. I would love to hear from Sidra. I would love to hear from some club leaders. I would love to hear reasons why people are going to this track, that track, and why they're not going to that track, or why they don't like Skyline, or why they don't like OMC, or why they don't want to race desert. Those are the things I'm looking forward to, because if I don't know what's going on out there for you guys, I can't get the word out there. I can't reach out to the owners of Skyline and say, hey, this is why the track feels the way it does. This is why you're not getting the people. This is why you're not getting the participation. And same could be said about OMC and Sidra. I mean, come on, guys. There's no way to make things better unless we say something or do something to make it better. And that's what Life in Moto has been about from the beginning. And I am excited about this next venture. I'm excited about what can happen down the road now. We're talking about huge possibilities for everybody in the state of Idaho, the community, huge things. I'm going to start looking for new up-and-coming cinematographers, photographers, editors. These are the things that I want to bring back to Idaho. I want to involve Idaho people. I want to make it for Idaho. Plain and simple. I don't need to know your backstory. I don't need to know any of that other stuff. I just want to know what would make you a great fit moving forward for our podcast. So those are some of the things. And if you're a cinematographer, a photographer, I know I've done some segments on a couple different cinematographers and photographers, but I want someone that's new and upcoming and building their reputation. And I am looking for those kinds of people right now. So if you're any of those, please reach out to me. Direct message me on Instagram at lifeinmoto21, and we will make this amazing. I'm telling you guys, there is so much potential for growth, opportunity, and just letting people know what's going on in our lovely state. That is huge. I can't express that enough. As many of you know, This is not going to change what the podcast is about. This is not going to change its platform. It's not going to change its directional idea of involving life and moto. If anything, this merger could be huge. This could be a bettering of our podcast. We've talked about bringing bigger co-hosts, or bringing hosts on, bringing people on, recording their episode, and so forth. But these are things that I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys, my listeners, the people that have been with me from the beginning, from the very beginning episode where it was garbage. The content was amazing, recording was horrible, and I've hopefully made some adjustments to make those better, and I'm still growing and still making those adjustments. But the biggest thing is I need your guys' involvement. I need you guys to spread the word about the podcast, the social media pages, and so forth. That's the only way we can grow this, is by you guys sharing, letting your friends know, family members know about it, and we can make this better. I'm also going to be reaching out to several different contracting companies to look at doing some sponsorships for the podcast, and all of those sponsorships are going to be turned back to you guys, the people, the listeners, the writers, the events, everything. I'm looking at possibly even down the road hosting an event and having it be for the podcast. I'm looking to do live interviews with you guys. I'm looking to get to know you guys more. But that can only happen if we make this grow and we make it bigger. And for me to make this bigger and make this grow, I've got to do this. I've got to merge. I've got to bring on somebody else. I've got to help make this podcast more successful. And it's not a successful for me. It's a successful for you guys. You guys need the content. You guys need the information. You guys need to have these outlets to make yourselves feel adequate in knowledge. And that's the biggest thing with these things. Podcasts, social media, that's what it's all about. So, if you are a rider, I will repeat it again, in either motocross, desert, or enduro, reach out to me. Tell me why I should sponsor one of your races. And if you're a cinematographer, an up-and-coming photographer, reach out to me. I would love to do segments with you. I would love to have you do photo shoots. I would love to have you do recordings of some of these riders and events that Life in Moto is going to be at. So, with that, I'm going to close by saying Life in Moto is about to go beyond where it could have ever gone, where it should have ever gone, and I'm more than excited to have that happen. So, stick around, share the word, direct message me on Instagram, get in touch with me, let's make this happen. So, as always, keep 2 wheels down and never be afraid to reach out.